our people are doing what they're supposed to be doing at all times, not just 90% of the time, not just 95% of the time. It's got to be every time because the clients deserve our A game every single time, all the time. So
the biggest takeaway from me for this trial was Igor and I had a plan. Like, we had a plan that we wanted to go execute, that we wanted to deliver on, and we did. Like, we went into court and we executed exactly the plan that we wanted to execute, and still we didn't get all of the verdict that we wanted. And that was where I think we became pretty reflective of what's missing here. But the one thing I can say is that the next time we put 6 in the box, I expect a significantly better result based on the plan that we have. That's what I've been up to. Hey, Dylan, you been in any trials? I mean, I know he's not on the plane yet, but I don't hear anything. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to a very special CHG weekly recap. As you can see, we're without Cam this week. We're without Dylan this week.
Trial lawyers only.
It's trial lawyers only. We're without Cam. The word is that there's a very special mergers and acquisitions conference going on up in Nashville, and Cam holding down the transactional side of things. We made sure that he was up there because we're going to be talking trial today. Dylan, he heard
the jurisdiction.
He heard that we were going to be talking about trial, and for his health, to keep that blood pressure down, he decided he needed to leave the country to be beyond the subpoena power of the courts, so to speak. So Dylan's in the DR. But today, we're going to be recapping probably our last 2 weeks, which has been heavily focused on trial. So, Igor, what have you been up to? It's what I've been up to, but what have you been up to?
Yeah, so John and I tried a case last week, and it was a case for like two clients that really good clients. We really like it, and we wanted to do right by them. And so we went ahead and put 6 in the box when the insurance company wasn't doing what we thought was right. And it was a mixed verdict, meaning like we got the jury to say that we're injured, we got the jury to say that we're permanently injured, and award them money for the medical expenses and their pain and suffering. But they awarded less than what we really wanted, what we thought was what the case warranted. So it's one of those days that you don't feel super good about because you feel like there should have been more there, right? And so, I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. We always respect the jury's verdict, and the community has spoken. But we learned a lot in the trial because, we've tried a lot of these cases, but this was probably one of the best cases we ever tried in terms of the facts. And so we really got to see, like, when you try a really good case, like, what are the real issues that still remain, or what are the real issues to be concerned about? And so that's always helpful. And we got the trial. We hired somebody about 2 or 3 months ago to help us with the logistics of trial, like making sure the binders are right and making sure all the equipment is there and all that kind of stuff. And we got to try that out. Didn't really go as smooth as we would want, but for the first time, doing something completely different from what we've ever done, it wasn't terrible, and it was a good beginning to what's to come. And so really what I did all last week was be with John in trial, trying the case and doing the best that we could. And it was a long grind. I mean, there was days, and I think on Wednesday, I got up at 5 a.m. and then I went to sleep at 3 a.m. So essentially it was like a 21-hour workday that Wednesday, and every other day in that week was not too far from that. It wasn't as crazy, but it was a lot of work. And so that was that week. That was last week. And then this week I just came back and started catching up on things and really had an opportunity to start looking at the systems and the processes and the people who are responsible for executing those systems and those processes. And I gotta say, even though I genuinely believe that we execute at a much higher level than really just about any other personal injury firm in Florida, there's a lot of things that I saw that I don't like. There's a lot of things that I saw that need to be better. Our managers need to manage better. Our people need to perform better. And we're going to tighten that shit up. I promise you that. So the next couple of weeks, I'm going to really be super intentional about making sure that our managers are managing appropriately. Our people are doing what they're supposed to be doing at all times, not just 90% of the time, not just 95% of the time. It's got to be every time because the clients deserve our A game every single time, all the time. So I spent a lot of time looking at that. I spent a lot of time doing legal work this week, and there's going to be a lot of changes coming up as a result of that. But what did you do, bro?
Yeah, I don't know if you heard, but I was in trial last week.
Oh, that's right. I heard about that.
Yeah, man. So, like Igor said, the trial, it was a win, right? No, like he said, the jury found they were injured. It was caused by the accident. It was permanent. They awarded the medical bills, awarded pain and suffering, but it was somewhat bittersweet because it wasn't all of what we wanted. But it was the biggest takeaway that I think both of us had from this trial was what we learned from it. I think back to, our days as young PDs and, the joke of, the drug possession cases where the defense was no prints, no DNA, everybody's lying. And we would win time after time after time on that argument. And basically we'd go up and try the same case and the state would go up and try the same case. And it was rinse and repeat, not guilty. And the one thing that we were kind of determined is to go back to the drawing board here and we're not going to try the same case again. And the thing that we learned, I think that we were doing, and I think that probably a lot of, plaintiffs' lawyers are doing, is you look at the verdict form and you look at the verdict form as being the only things that you have to prove in the case. And I think the biggest takeaway that we got from this case was you got to prove everything that's on that verdict form, but you got to prove everything that's in between those questions too. Pretty much anything that might come up as a question in the juror's mind, you got to prove that too, because all that stuff matters. And Igor and I sat down after this trial and pretty much debriefed and came up with a plan of what are we going to do differently every single case from this point forward, that if we had to try this case again, we're going to get that better result. We're going to get the result that we wanted. And I think, really the biggest takeaway from me for this trial was Igor and I had a plan. Like, we had a plan that we wanted to go execute, that we wanted to deliver on, and we did. Like, we went into court and we executed exactly the plan that we wanted to execute, and still we didn't get all the verdict that we wanted. And that was where I think we became pretty reflective of what's missing here. And really that's what we came up with, is it's more than just checking the boxes on the verdict form. It's checking the boxes that aren't on the verdict form and really building everything in between those questions so that there's nothing left in the jury's mind about why you're right, why your client was injured, and why they deserve everything that you're asking for. And so there's a lot of work to be done on that end, but we've already taken that first step of identifying what that work is, and now it's just a matter of putting in the manpower, putting in the hours. But the one thing I can say is that the next time we put 6 in the box, I expect a significantly better result based on the plan that we have. And that's what I've been up to. It's been good to be back this week. Kind of in some ways, it's back to that 8 to 6 sort of model, so I can get some sleep again, because it was definitely 20+ hour weeks last week. But I'm kind of bored. And I think it's time to put 6 more in the box. What do you think?
A couple more months, right? That's the next one.
Not even. We got about 5 weeks. So we'll be having another one of these conversations in October. But that's what I've been up to. Hey, Dylan, you been in any trials? I know he's not on the plane yet, but I don't hear anything. I don't know. Dylan's going to talk a lot about settlements. He talked about it last week, the week before that, and we'll probably hear about it for the rest of 2023. And then when we do our year in review, I have no question that's what Dylan will talk about. But hey, Dylan, you keep settling those cases, bro. Keep settling. I hear that juries give great settlements. And Cam, you keep holding down those mergers and acquisitions. Cheers, bro.